zookeepers, and welcome back to the Northridge Zoo. That is a camel right there, and I'm showing you that because we're adding them today in our brand new desert area. So sit back and relax and enjoy this unedited video of me building our brand new camel habitat. And we'll be doing all of that right over here. I went ahead and planned out this entire area, and we'll be starting with our first exhibit right here for the camels. We'll be doing it where it's a little oasis, and it's gonna be absolutely beautiful. I wanted to do it over here because I realized that all of the guests are kind of walking towards our old Asia area, so we want guest flow to start coming this way. And we're building a desert area now, which I'm very excited for because a lot of this zoo is colder animals because we're set in the Pacific Northwest, so we're wanting to do a lot of cold animals just so we don't have to pay for heaters and everything on every habitat. But I haven't seen a lot of like desert areas in a Pacific Northwest zoo, so I was like, let's go ahead and build one. So we'll just kind of be doing a basic little entrance area, just set the tone of what you're going to experience at this living desert exhibit. That's what we're going to be kind of calling it. And it's going to be desert animals from all around the world. And the first ones we'll be doing are the camels, specifically the Bactrian camels. Let me go ahead and show you guys what these are. They're the ones with the two humps. They are native to Asia. And I know a lot of people probably think when they think desert, like Sahara Desert in Africa and everything. But actually, the Gobi Desert in Asia is a cold desert. Fun fact, every continent in the world has a desert. So we're just kind of be representing all of those. And we're starting with a beautiful little desert oasis for a lot of the hoof stock and like desert animals. So we're not just going to be including Bactrian camels. We'll also be including probably the addax. Technically, they're not from the same region, but I feel like you could probably mix them in the zoo. Addax are one of the most endangered antelope species, and they are from the Sahara. And I know in Planet Zoo you can mix them with the dromedary camel. We're going to change it up a little bit though, and we're going to mix them with the Bactrian. Because I feel like in real life that would actually be something that you do. You could get away with, at least in a zoo. However, right now we're just kind of be building like a little natural looking desert entrance. Nothing too crazy. We might throw in a sign a little later, but I basically just wanted to see what kind of rock work I'm going to be doing in order to really establish this area as its own thing. The idea with this area is this is one of the newer additions to the zoo. So it had a lot more of a budget to kind of go in and do specific, like a huge ecosystem. Maybe not like really popular animals, but really showcase more of what actual living ecosystem would look like. And this instance, it's replicating a desert habitat. So yeah, we're going to be mostly working with a lot of the rock work, especially this fox. I think that's how you say it. The aquatic rocks, essentially. They're really great at just kind of like, they look a little concrete-ish. And a lot of zoos kind of like have these like fake rock work piles and everything. So we're going to be wanting to do a lot of that today, specifically in this desert oasis area. So yeah, the idea is basically you walk up this hill and there's going to be a grand centerpiece that we'll be building in the next episode right here. But there's also going to be a little restaurant right here that has like a little overlook into this oasis area, this hill essentially. And then while you're walking up to this grand centerpiece building, you'll be able to see the camels and addaxes from the view right here. So, well, let's start kind of outlining what the outline of this habitat's going to be. We're going to go ahead and try to get the camels in today, as well as potentially the restaurant. We'll see. The restaurant's going to be part of that building that we'll be doing in the next episode anyway, so we might have to save it till then, depending on how quickly we can get this camel habitat looking fantastic. So for these outside exhibits, there's going to be 2 outside exhibits, one on this side and then a giant one on this side. And we're going to be wanting to do a mix of these kind of rocks. We're going to be using a lot of these fake rocks, and then I also want to intermix them kind of with the outside rocks, because I feel like they would just use some of these bigger rocks that are actually kind of outside already, to just kind of like break up the landscape as well. So it'll be kind of like a nice mix of real and then also like the zoo rocks that the zoo built and added in with the habitat. So there we go. Maybe this was like an older section that they kind of renovated. We can go ahead and say that is part of the lore for this area, perchance. So there we go. Let's go ahead and get this outside going. So yeah, this was actually, the Bactrian camel was actually suggested by one of you guys. And I was like, that's kind of perfect because we're in a cold environment. And the Bactrian camel can pretty much survive in any temperature in this game, and it's actually fantastic. Not a lot of animals are able to sustain such variable temperatures, but if we look at the Bactrian, part of the reason I also chose the Addicts is because it can survive in colder weather as well. But the Bactrian camel can literally go from -40 Celsius to 44 Celsius, so literally the hottest of hottest to the coldest. So they won't complain or anything when it's snowing, which will be very nice, because when you're in franchise mode and it snows, you get a lot of those kind of messages. So we're going to be able to cut down on that with using the Bactrian camel for that. So this back area is going to be just a lot of trees, essentially, more of like a natural looking background. But we want it to kind of match the vibe of this entire area. So it'll be more of a basic fence towards the back. And the kind of vibe we're going to go for, I know it's this desert area isn't specifically based off of like a specific area, but this North Africa theme pack is actually fantastic because they have these little pillar things and I just absolutely love them. So we're going to be kind of using that kind of vibe, and we're going to be turning them white. So these will be kind of like the pillars of a fence. And I'm going to go ahead and actually build this on flat land, and then we'll go ahead and kind of change it over. But we're going to go ahead and use like a mesh fence as well. Just go ahead and figure out exactly which one we want to just kind of like keep the camels in, you know. We're wanting to do that for sure. So we can just go ahead and use this like basic one right here. And I'm going to change the color actually. Instead of a bright green, maybe a black. What does white look like? No, not a white. Let's do like a light gray. And we'll go ahead and kind of like lower this to kind of match in with that area. And then maybe we can... I know I just focused on changing the color fence, but I might actually just change it to a plaster piece anyways. Something like kind of like this to make it look a bit more secure. Go ahead and maybe get this piece down. Might actually have to lower it a bit. Yeah, we're gonna have to lower it like there. And then we'll get the fence to match up. And then once we make one of these, we can basically just copy it over everywhere. And then just build out the rest of these pieces. There we go. And get the color to match. That's probably close enough. Not quite, actually. I feel like this plaster column is kind of like a different thing. What if we do, instead of a round, let's do a round one instead, actually. I've decided to change my mind. We're going to do a beautiful round one for the top part here. And just get it all lined up. And like I said, once we have one of these, we can just duplicate it. So I want this first one to be perfect. So then I can just copy it everywhere. Like I said, this isn't lined up. So that would have been an issue on all of the fences that we put down. Okay. Looking pretty good. And let's change this to white. I think that's pretty solid. The whites are a little different color. That's kind of bugging me. Maybe if I... What if I make this a different color altogether? Make that gray instead? Let's see kind of what this looks like. Merge them into a group, and then we can kind of duplicate it. How does that look? That does not look bad at all. Let's go ahead and use those then. Okay, we'll go ahead and move these pieces. So we can kind of just put these towards the back of the area is the thinking. And it's going to be kind of covered in shrubs and bushes anyways. But we still want it to look good because you'll be catching glimpses of it as you're walking up. So yeah, I think this is just a solid kind of back fence area that we can kind of use throughout the area. I had something similar that I used in the Asia area. It was kind of just like logs and stuff. This one looks a bit more sturdy, looks a bit more newer. We might have to add some decals because it is outside in the Pacific Northwest. There might be some moss growing on it. But yeah, let's go ahead and duplicate all of these up to this hill towards where the restaurant's gonna be. I have no idea what the restaurant's gonna look like just yet. So we'll kind of leave that area blank for now. But it will be attached to kind of like the camel house and stuff. So we'll have to add that very soon. So let's go ahead and add kind of just one of these to block off maybe like a big wall to kind of like have it go into where the little restaurant balcony is going to be. We're going to stack a couple of these, kind of rotate them, make a nice little incline like that, get a little wall, and then one more of these just kind of like there. There we go. Okay. Yeah. And then maybe just one real rock kind of sticking out like this to help break up that color. There we go. Cool. And then obviously we'll have a lot of trees. I kind of put like a little bit of the rock work, what it's going to look like from this pathway. Like I said, we have a long way for them to walk, so we'll have to kind of decorate that whole area, but I will not subject you guys to have to watch all of this planting and stuff. But I want to give a kind of a sense of what the background's going to look like with this area. So it is kind of fun mixing, like, obviously when you think desert, you think cactuses, so the fact we're planting a bunch of fir trees is kind of fun, because I feel like, you know, even in colder zoos, they have like camels and desert animals kind of like this, just to represent those different ecosystems that they're not like used to and stuff. So yeah, it'll look something kind of like this. I don't want to go too crazy because then it will make this desert oasis look a little too full. So a lot of the plants and stuff will be more focused on like this outside area and like in this little divot where the path gets broken up. We'll have a ton of like different trees and stuff in here, and that will like, even those will kind of be seen from this pathway, kind of like this. Yeah, that's kind of the idea, is like this whole beautiful hill just turned to a camel oasis. So yeah, okay, let's go ahead and get started more on the guest side of things right about here and stuff, because I feel like as soon as we put these camels in, we're in franchise mode. These guests will start wandering on over here. So we want this area to start looking pretty good. So let's continue kind of just this rock work up this slope. And I will say it, building on a slope in Planet Zoo is just always the absolute worst. I don't know, for some reason, it's probably the thing I struggle most in this game. But I'm going to be really brave for you guys, and I'm going to try to do my best here. So just because we built this like on a little hill section, I feel like maybe the zoo used to have this area just as woods or something, and they had built around it, and then eventually they were like, this is the only space we can fit a whole desert area, and let's go ahead and kind of like fill it in. So that's kind of the idea with it. So I don't think camels will be able to get up that way, but hopefully not. Let's go ahead and keep going like this. And then I feel like right about there is probably enough viewing area. So we'll kind of just block it off with a big rock. We'll want to kind of make it where it looks like blended in kind of like this. Like so. And like so. And then maybe we can have a big decorative piece of landscape right about here. Because we don't want to block the view of the building. The building is going to be beautiful. I've been practicing building that and everything. I know exactly how it's going to look. So it's going to look stunning. So we don't want to block it at all. But we don't want the camels, like backyard, barnyard, camel barn to be seen. So that camel barn is going to be kind of like right about here. That we'll be building. Just go ahead and kind of flatten that. It's going to be right about there is the camel inside. And it will be kind of technically part of the building, but it'll be like a downstairs section of it, where only the staff can go. So that's kind of the idea with that. But it's looking pretty good, not going to lie. We kind of want to make it seem like there gets less trees as the entrance, as you approach the entrance, you know? We don't want it to get too busy with the trees right about here. So I think we're going to stop the trees there and then just kind of focus on the rock work and stuff on this outside section right here to make it really fill in. And then maybe we can add some desert-ish plants or like dead-looking plants. There's been one that I've been using. This one right here. This bush is actually fantastic. It looks a little drier and stuff, but it still kind of fills in a lot of that space right about here. So we can kind of fill in a lot of that right there. And then also there's one. Well, let me see what kind of plants grow in the North American taiga biome is where we're set. So we want more of like deserty looking plants, stuff kind of like this that's like, oh yeah, that could like represent a desert and stuff. Obviously once we start planting the actual oasis part, we'll be matching the plants that the Bactrian camel and the Addax actually really like. But for now, this outside area is free reign. We can put whatever plants we want in it. And we kind of just want to fill it in with like this dry looking grass and stuff. Maybe some logs like this. We had a lot of logs and stuff in the other Asia area that I just finished. If you haven't seen that, go ahead and there's a tour on the channel that you can kind of explore it, catch up if this is your first video of mine and stuff. So yeah, that was a fun area. And I'm really looking forward to this area as well. So maybe something kind of like that sets the tone, you know. This area is going to be called like Living Desert and stuff, but that's just because of all the living things that are in the desert. That doesn't mean the desert itself is very green and lush. So we want it to be kind of brown and dusty, but that doesn't mean that it's any less beautiful. So we're going to kind of get like a lot of these like kind of roots and like dried up trees. That's going to be a lot of what this area is going to be looking like, especially the inside section that we'll be building very soon. Oh my gosh, I think that tree does so much. I don't think I've actually ever used one of these pine branch trees, but oh my word, in this entrance area, it is stunning. Yeah, let's just have it kind of like fill it in. Oh, we probably won't use that one. That one is a big one. Okay, we won't use that, but we will use all of these kind of branches. They just kind of look, you know, rough and tough, and I feel like that's what a lot of the desert is. Especially with cactuses and stuff. Cactuses, I feel like, are like the main desert plant. I feel like they're like the ones that are seen most when talking about deserts and stuff. So let's use some of those and stuff. There we go. Yeah, that's a great looking entrance. And then we'll have something proper on this side. Maybe we can have the sign on this side, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. But we might have to build that when we're building this habitat. It's going to be absolutely massive. I'm really looking forward to the animal that's in this one. But I'm not going to give any teasers. You'll have to stay tuned later this week for that. Okay. Let's kind of get the general shape of this back area going. Like I said, this is going to be kind of the restaurant area. And the restaurant's going to be part of the building we'll be building in the next one. So I'll probably wait for the restaurant on that just so we kind of get this camel habitat perfect. We're focusing on the first main habitat of this new part. So we definitely want to take our time with this one and not have to hurry to try to build a restaurant. So the restaurant's probably going to come in the next one. But I'm excited. I'm going to call it the Oasis, you know, because it's like you go get some drinks, you get some food, and you feel refreshed, just like an actual natural oasis in the desert. So yeah, let's kind of keep focusing on a bit of this rock work because I feel like I'm low-key cooking on the rock work in this back area. I kind of want this whole little hill to be a rock right there. Yeah, and then maybe we can throw in a log. I'm not sure if the camels like this kind of log, but I feel like they might, so we're gonna kind of just put it in here anyways. Just because it gives a little bit of a natural look right there. And then we'll go ahead and add a few more rock faces. I love this style of rock. Absolutely love it, so we want to get plenty of it. And we'll put some more right about here. And then we'll figure out kind of how many trees and stuff we'll be putting in this area. Probably not too many more, but we'll put one there and we'll put one there as well. Yeah, that should be plenty. And then until I fill in that back area. That back area being filled in is going to do, and just kind of like fill in that whole area perfectly. Because right now, it's just a whole lot of blank. So we'll fill in the trees. I kind of like to do those off camera because it's just a lot of copying and pasting and stuff. And I feel like the exciting stuff is the exhibits and everything. I don't want to do a whole 2-hour episode of me just building the nature side of the zoo and stuff. I'll gladly do that on my free time. So, okay. And we'll do that right there. Cool. Yeah, see, it just kind of fills in that whole area. I'm thinking that backside is pretty much done. Trying to think, maybe just like some of these. And then we'll get some of these like little pebble rocks to fill in this space right here. Really love these. Especially like when you color them, they can look like any kind of rock you want. It helps break up the big rocks too. I'll probably honestly just scatter these all around. The only downside of using these kind of rocks in franchise mode is they block a lot of the walkable space by some of the animals, especially ones with like hoofs and stuff. I guess they see it as tripping hazard, which I completely understand. So they kind of like just block off a huge circle area, and that's not great. In franchise mode, you want as much space as you can get. You don't want to be blocking off too much stuff with these kind of rocks and everything, but I think that is just enough to be tasteful. Maybe some more up here, actually. Never mind. I changed my mind. Some up here, just to kind of show, and then maybe kind of like a center point rock right here with one of these fancy, one of my new favorite pieces for this new area. Kind of like have it wrap around. Something like that. Is that too much? That's all right. That is all right. I think I'll probably like put another log on it though. No, not liking either of those. We'll figure that out. Maybe we have like an actual tree or something. We don't want it too tall either because it will be I guess the focal point of this habitat will be the restaurant balcony and stuff. So I guess let's not worry about it too much. One thing to worry about, we obviously need a fence. We need a fence in order to keep our camels away from the guests safe, the camels safe, all of that stuff. Low key, I feel like this, I just saw this piece for the first time. That's kind of a fun piece. I don't even know what it is. It's a shop facade, but I've never thought about using it as a fence before, but low key, I think it's the perfect fence. Okay, I just made an accidental discovery live to you guys, and we're gonna use it. So nothing too crazy. We don't need this one too tall, but we basically want it to follow this curve of the path and stuff, and that's gonna be the nightmare. So I'm gonna be having to use a lot of this advanced moving tool. There's gonna be some trial and error here, but yeah, let's go ahead and start kind of just copying this up and stuff. And we kind of want to, I kind of want it spaced apart too. So it almost looks, yeah, I might use this thing more often. I really like this. Cool, okay. And then we'll kind of just copy it up. Luckily, I kind of have an angle going already. Do I? Yeah, something like that. And we want it evenly spaced with the other one. And we want it up against the path as well. Maybe a little further down and a little... I think that's good. Yeah, we're gonna have to kind of like adjust every single one. I think that's probably why I don't like building on hills as much as just like a flat area. But building on hills just makes the exhibits feel so much more alive. I will never not stop building on hills, but just know I'll complain about it every time. Probably. No. I can't really complain too much because if I had to make like my own fence and was having to do this, it'd be a lot more difficult. So the fact that this is just one piece that I'm able to move and adjust every time, it's actually kind of helping. We'll go ahead and do that. I kind of want to adjust this one though. I feel like this is the one that's kind of out of place right now. Yes, I think it curved more like that. And I didn't follow the curve as well as I should have. Okay. Oh, we're getting there. We're cooking. There we go. Yeah, more like that. I think I went a little too far. I was getting too excited, or I was complaining too much and I didn't realize. Okay, and then it kind of curves back this way. So we don't want it to do it too dramatically. More like this, maybe. There we go. A little too much. And I feel like this is what we've spent the most time doing. But you know what? It's worth it because this is what the guests will see. This is what the final tour of this area is gonna see. So you kind of have to spend some time making the parts that are obvious to people a little bit prettier. And then we're gonna have to slope this up. I don't even know kind of what this design is, but I really like just like the kind of the white ropes on it. I think that matches the white plaster we used for the back fence perfectly. Yeah. Oh yeah, this is looking good. I can't believe it's just some of those pieces, you know, you just randomly turn something around and you find a beautiful pattern that you've never seen before. And you can apply that to anything in life, you know. Sometimes it's just about changing your perspective and just seeing it from a different angle, and a certain beauty comes out of it. Okay, I think that is probably some of my best slope work. At least we're gonna say it. Please comment saying, oh wow, that's some of your best slope work, and I'll say thank you. And I'll know exactly what you're talking about. Let us actually put this little thing on here. I think that will help it. Yeah, something like that. And then maybe on this backside, kind of poking the other way. And then we'll make this beautiful entrance area very soon. Just to plan out exactly what this entrance plaza for our grand, most ambitious project in this zoo so far. I've been so stressed about it, but that's another story for another time. So the balcony will be about there for the restaurant. We'll just kind of leave an opening for it. I might just have to build the balcony because I feel like this is just going to be a blank looking thing for the end of the video, which just isn't good. So you might have got a glimpse of it actually already at the beginning, but we'll see. Okay, yeah, and then this is going to be kind of like the backstage area for the camels right back here. So we kind of want it a little bit more hidden than it actually is currently. One of my favorite ways of doing that, just like hiding unnecessary or like things I don't want the guests to see, is kind of just this, you know, just kind of block their view, but make it look organic. So something along those lines. And honestly, that's perfect. Because right here, you're looking up at the balcony of the restaurant, and you're like, that looks cool, I want to eat there. And you're not even worried about what's going on back here and stuff. So we do want to block it a little bit from when you're going to be paying the most premium price to be able to eat on the balcony of the camel area in the Oasis restaurant. So we'll block it kind of that way. And then that way, when you're out on the balcony, you're looking that way. And hopefully you don't catch a glimpse of what's going on back here. Because back here is just going to be water pipes and a dusty little thing, a little paddock for the camels to chill at. So yeah, whenever they need some privacy, really. Okay, there we go. And there we go. Okay, let's go ahead and kind of make this back area. It is going to be, like I said, it's going to be technically part of the building that we're going to be doing next time. I guess you made it 33 minutes into the video. I'll go ahead and kind of tell you what it is. We're building like a desert dome, essentially. And what we're going to want to do is make it as beautiful as possible, but it's going to be made out of this like kind of white plaster. And there's going to be like a staff area in here. The dome is going to be about here, and then there's going to be like our little restaurant. So this is going to be all like this. That's going to be all part of the building there, and then I guess we'll have the restaurant right about there, and the staff quarters are all right about there. There is actually going to be another little habitat right here, little inside building that will just be kind of outlined. Okay. Yeah, and then we can have the entrance right in there. Okay. So let's go ahead and kind of make this camel section. Just kind of follow this. So we need to build like a little staircase for the camels. Not for the camels specifically, but for the keepers to be able to get into this camel area. We kind of need to make it where it's accessible for the keepers and everything. So let's go ahead and kind of do this. Maybe we can actually, we'll get a little fancy with it. We'll make a little keeper hut that's right here. I don't think there's any power in this area. That's kind of the bummer about building so far away from this stuff. But I needed plenty of space for the camels and for this whole desert area. So we'll go ahead and kind of do that. And then we'll have it a little bit like that. We can get the door down. And then this will be kind of just like maybe a half wall. There we go. And then the actual door will be right about there. Maybe we can get some glass in, so the keepers, as they're walking past, they can peek in and see how the camels are doing. We'll just get this piece right there. There we go. Okay. And then we want to kind of expand that. And like I said, we need the keepers to be able to get down. We need the camels to be able to kind of reach the door, because in franchise mode, if they can't reach the door, there's like problems with them being able to access certain parts of their other, like their toys and stuff. For some reason, it gets finicky like that. So we'll go ahead and kind of, oh, this is kind of a different, let's go ahead and kind of, so this is the basic outline. Maybe we can have them like enter in like that. I don't know. And then we can have a little shaded area. Oh yeah, that's how we'll do it. Okay. So basically we just need these to connect like this. And so the camels don't need that much walking space. So let's go ahead and get our plaster pieces back out. And we kind of want to make the wall about maybe that tall, maybe a little less tall. We only need like a 4-meter way in. And then I love absolutely doing and using this this pipe thing. I don't even know what it's called. Walkthrough exhibit PVC strip curtain. I don't even know what it is, but basically a lot of zoos use that to block in the heat and stuff. And since we're in the Pacific Northwest, you definitely want that for their inside area. So then when they're in here, it's all warm and toasty. And when they're outside, they're just outside enjoying stuff. But like I said, the camels probably would have access to being outside all the time. Where some of the other animals we might be building for in this desert dome are staying inside all the time, because they would not enjoy the Pacific Northwest temperature. So yeah, and then I guess we can go ahead and kind of add, we don't want them to be able to kind of get up to this area. So I kind of want to make just like a little panel. Go ahead and kind of add this. And we might just add like some mulch and stuff to it. Yeah, something just kind of like this to kind of block off this little hill. Nothing crazy. Just like that. Maybe a little incline. And then we can kind of copy that over with us. Not that small. What kind of piece am I looking for? I guess that small works. And then we'll just kind of double it up right here and right here. I don't know if they'd actually have that in like a proper animal back area, but we're gonna be putting it because it's kind of ugly. And I don't want my camels looking at something bad. I want them to be looking at something beautiful. Okay. And then we can kind of put that and just that. There we go. Cool. Yeah. I guess I need to do that for this back area too. Just kind of connect there. There's a giant rock in here we can kind of probably move to be more outside. Like so. That kind of covers up all of that other work. We'll kind of extend it out to here. There we go. And then maybe just one to kind of cover up that blemish. There. There we go. And then we can kind of just give them a lot more of that room right there. Obviously not too much, because we need to go ahead and move that and that. And then they can have that rest of the space. And then the restaurant will be right there once I build that restaurant. Cool. Okay. And then maybe we just put a ton of sand. I know technically this would be like stairs in real life, but building stairs that are actually accessible to both a camel and keepers in this game that's just horrible. So we're not going to do that. We'll just pretend it's kind of a sand pile or something that the camels like to use. This is still sticking through. There we go. And there we go. Okay. And like I said, I kind of wanted to blend this backstage area a little bit better. So we're going to go ahead and build like a little canopy. I haven't really thought about what roof style I want for the big desert building, but I feel like I always kind of end up choosing this clad roof because it's just perfect. So we're going to go ahead and kind of do that. Is it perfect? I kind of want to move it. I might have to get it off the grid a little bit. I want it more like this. There we go. Yeah, that's more what I'm thinking, because then that way this area is kind of blocked off completely from what you can see. I can even raise this rock a bit more, and then it's just completely blocked off. And then we can go ahead and add more of like those plaster pieces. I love just doing kind of these pillars and stuff, and we'll go ahead and turn them white as well. And then this way it's just a bit of like a shaded outside area, completely covered. And then we'll kind of decorate, kind of extend it like this. I don't fully know if that design will carry up or something, but yeah. And then I guess we can kind of copy and paste this over to this side, like so. Just like that. And then I actually want to extend this rock so it kind of touches the pillars and stuff. There we go. Yeah, looking good. Okay, and then I guess there would be, since we're kind of having the two different species in here, I guess technically there would be kind of like a separation if they ever needed it. Almost something like this. So we'd have like a little gated area, similar to what we kind of did for the deer habitat. If you saw that episode, we just kind of made like an off-show area. So we kind of want to do that, and then we'll kind of, there's an implied gate somewhere in there. Am I able to get it kind of a gate? Maybe not. I would love to do one of these doors. These are like one of my favorite things. I hope in Planet Zoo 2 that we'll be able to kind of like have like almost, I don't even know how to describe it, animal schedules. So it's like, okay, sometimes this door's open, sometimes it's not, or something along those lines where it's like we can separate the animals if we need. Because a lot of zoos do that with like breeding. For example, like tigers, you know, they don't always want to, the males and females don't always want to be hanging out just because they're very isolated animals in real life. So it would be kind of nice to get a real sense of that. This area is not going to be too seen in like often. So I'm not going to go crazy in depth here, but I do kind of just want to block off that area right here, and then we'll get one of these plasters and kind of just bring it over to here, and we should be able to just kind of block off this so you're not seeing part of the roof come through, even though technically you can see it right there. But that's fine. Cool. Okay, yeah, this would be kind of the area. And then let's actually get our barriers down so then we can start putting both of the camel and attics in here. I'm hoping they both have enough room. I haven't actually seen exactly what this space looks like or how much space requirement they both require. So it's kind of a guess right now if we'll have both of them. It's just something I'm more hopeful. I also was thinking I'll probably need like a secondary fence right there. just because I feel like a baby camel could definitely climb up this rock face right here. So we need to do that. And then, but first I need to see if both of the species can actually join us in this habitat. If not, the Bactrian camel is perfectly fine representing the Gobi Desert. Okay, and then we'll just have it kind of go up here, right around here, right past this restaurant. I might have to fix the barriers or something once I put the restaurant in. I know how finicky the terrain can be with Planet Zoo. Speaking of the finicky terrain right here, already having difficulties just getting this in. You kind of have to work around the terrain like that. And once it turns blue, you automatically click. Cool. Okay, and then we'll go ahead and put a gate right there with a staff area connecting to there. There will be... This is the entrance to another habitat, so we'll go ahead and kind of just put that there as a reminder. And then we can kind of align the grid right there. And then, boom. Cool. This path is just going to be temporary, but I just kind of need to connect it so then we can actually get the camels in. There we go. It's looking good. Okay, before we get the camels in, I definitely know I need the secondary fence. So we'll go ahead and kind of use this one. It's also from the aquatic pack. And it's just kind of like a good guardrail, almost. Unless we use this one. Oh, this one might be better, actually, for what we're trying to do. I just kind of need to angle it like this. Just like so. Okay. Uh-oh. We have to do more of slope work. Oh, no. Okay. It's going to be worth it, guys. It's going to be worth it. Trust me. It's always so difficult, though. Okay. It's going to be worth it. And I'm just saying that to myself as I'm struggling with the second one. I think that's good. I think I actually have to tilt it more like that. Yeah, that's good enough. This is like more of like a utility need than a look good need. Let's actually scoot them back a bit so they're more in the rock. Like so. There we go. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I feel like that's something you'd look past, you know, when you're you're in it. Or like you're touring the zoo. You're going around the zoo. You're not really looking at these metal posts. The camels and stuff would be catching your eyes more than these metal posts. But this is just so camels don't come and jump over. This is definitely something that would keep camels in. There we go. Looking pretty good. Looking good with the slope too. We'll go ahead and kind of rotate that back, and then just scoot it back so it matches up with this. I feel like we definitely need to rotate it more into the rock there. Okay. Okay, looking pretty good. There we go. Okay, this is definitely going to keep those camels out. Or I guess in. Especially the baby ones. They always have different hitboxes. It always gets a little complicated with them. They have smaller hitboxes than the adults, obviously. So sometimes you don't even know if there's an issue until they start having their children escape. So we definitely want to just take the precaution now. So next episode, while I'm building the Desert Dome, we don't have a random notification that a baby camel escapes and then we have to come all the way over here to fix it. We don't want that to happen. So I'm trying to prevent that now. Preventative measures. There we go. Okay, I think that's pretty solid. This one's kind of sticking up a bit too much, actually. I don't like that. And then we can scoot that one back as well. There we go. Okay. Yeah, and I think this fence blocks it just enough. Cool. Okay, now we can get the camels in. What we've been waiting for. Let's go ahead and animal trading. That's what I'm looking for. Not red pandas. That was last time. We need these camels. Let's see actually what kind of space they need. Okay, they need 2 to... Okay, I guess we can just get 2 of them. They need 750. How much space is this? 1,900? Okay. Oh, I should have plenty then. There's no male camels for sale right now, so I guess we'll just get 2 females for now, and we'll keep an eye on it. Let's go ahead and get some addicts as well. I'm pretty sure you can just mix any species. I don't think they get like a bonus or anything. How many do they need of? 2 to 25. Okay, just 1 male too. So we'll go ahead and just get the best male we can. And since this is a critically endangered species, we definitely want to be breeding these ones. So we got 3 addicts and 2 camel. And let's go ahead and send them to our brand new desert oasis that I'm going to 100% call Desert Oasis. There we go. Okay, and they're on their way. Yeah, I think the outside's looking good. Once they get their once they're in, I can get their terrain going and stuff, but while we wait for them to be delivered, I can actually sort by species, not aardvark, sort by species and start kind of putting the necessary things all up in here. So we'll go ahead and put that down. We're gonna put lots of bedding down so they know exactly they can sleep down over here, like so. And then we'll put a water pipe so they can drink. Do they not? Oh, there it is. We'll go ahead and kind of put that just on this pillar. We'll do this scratching post. I love this scratching post because it matches the trees that we're going for in this area without taking any of their like plant area. And I know they are not gonna want a lot of plants. Not a lot of the desert species do not want a lot of plants. And here they come. What's gonna be delivered first? Do you think camel or addicts? It's an addicts. Okay. Yeah, look at them. Okay, I gotta make sure that they're happy together. This is the camel. There's the camel. And the camel is not happy. Oh, can they not fit through that? No, they can fit. Oh, they can't fit through this fence. Okay. We'll go ahead and kind of open this up more so they can actually fit through that. They're not as skinny as the addicts. They're a little bigger. Ah, whoever suggested the Bactrian camel, perfect. I love their model so much. It looks so good. Cool. Okay. Are they pretty happy then already? Are they happy? They're pretty happy together. Okay. Technically not from the same environment, but I feel like since they're both kind of like deserty animals, they would both be pretty happy being together. They would become friends, essentially. One is from Africa and one's from Asia, but like I said, this is kind of just like the desert plains, desert area. They need a lot of sand, I'm not gonna lie. I think this is all pretty much gonna be sand by the time we're done spraying this. Get some dirt up there. There we go. Okay, and then lots of dirt back here. I realized this is just all... Actually, more sand. They want more sand back here. There we go. It looks like they want more rock, too. I guess we can kind of just change this back area to rock. Rocks there. Some rocks there. Where else can we put rocks? Rocks right up here. Okay, and just more sand. Lots of sand, guys. They're chilling. Look, they are already becoming friends. There we go. Okay, that camel's happy. Are they happy in their terrain? They want less soil, but I'm more worried about the camels. I guess I could just put more sand down. I don't know. No, I definitely want it broken up and stuff. Okay. They're chilling. They look a little bored, though, so let's get some enrichment for both of the species. I think they'll want a lot of the same stuff. I feel like most of the grazing animals kind of like this, like ball. They'll want this hanging thing we can put down here. Maybe attach it to something. Put a watermelon down here so they go down all the way. And then a little ball, maybe. There we go. And I think they should both just be happy now. Yeah. Yeah. The Addicts is happy and the camels are happy. There we go. Cool. And then we want to add plants. It is getting a little dark, though. I guess I'll let it. Oh, it's about to snow, actually. Okay, we'll just let it snow. Okay, let's go ahead and kind of get these plants sorted. I think this is probably where the problem comes in because they're from different continents. So I almost have to find ones that also work for Africa. And then get rid of temperate. Okay, just Africa and Asia desert is essentially what we need. It is snowing now. This is the big test of whether or not they like the cold or not. I think they do. Okay, how much? Okay, they do not like a lot of plants. Not gonna lie. Okay, let's get some just kind of towards this back area. I think a lot of the plants will just kind of come around here, maybe. Break up this big chunk of rock. Maybe a little, what is this? I think this is a pink bush. I do not want a pink bush. Some of these. They're not really happy with any of the plants right now, but that's okay. As long as they're happy with some of them. We also want stuff that kind of looks like it would grow in this environment in the Pacific Northwest. So that's kind of why I'm doing like a lot of these just kind of like bushes, I guess. And we can kind of scatter those about. We want it to break up a lot of this like just dirt. So we'll kind of have it like that. Maybe some bushes up in here. Another big bush right there. And luckily, these bushes are not taking up a lot of their plant space. I just realized it's an African bush, actually, so they're still chilling. They're chilling on their plant space, too. Cool. Okay, and then get a lot of just plants right up in here. This is going to be the fun part. As soon as it's done snowing, I'm going to be seeing this habitat for the first time, along with you guys, actually. Part of the fun of franchise mode is just the weathers and stuff, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, Planet Zoo 2 is going to even up the weather even more. So we're going to find out exactly what that's going to look like very, very soon. In October, specifically. In October, we'll be finding out. Let's go ahead and get some grass as well. I don't think they want too much more. So we just kind of want to do a few like grass patches. Maybe around here. Maybe one that's kind of like on this rock. There we go. And then right up here. There we go. Okay, we're about to see exactly what it looks like once it all melts. My favorite part about building in the snow. Sometimes you just gotta wing it. I think it's looking pretty good. It's looking actually a lot more lush than I thought it was gonna look originally. But using like a lot of these small plants, I can even add more. Okay. Go ahead and melt snow so we can see it. I'll go ahead and add actually the education while I'm thinking about it. Because the guests, like I said, as soon as you put it in, the guests are showing up. So we want one that's here. Right there. And since we have multiple animals, we'll put in a second one. and then we'll choose which one. We'll have this one talk about the addicts, and we'll have the other one talk about the camel. Oh, there's no power. Okay, that's something we'll have to fix very soon. But yeah, actually, wait. It looks actually fantastic in the daylight. There we go. That, I would say, is a desert oasis. And all of the animals are happy. So I think that means we have finished our camel and addicts habitat, and it's absolutely beautiful. If you want to keep watching me build this desert area, go ahead and click on this next one right here, or subscribe to see exactly when it comes out. But either way, have a great rest of your day.